Now for the girl's unique elemental, let's talk about Lumina, the light elemental. The power of light gives the girl some useful powers, so let's have a look. The first of Lumina's spells is Lucent Beam. It's one of the few actual attack spells that the girl gets, as well as one of the few ways within the game to actually deal light elemental damage. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward, just throwing various streaks of light at the enemy. When it gets a critical, those beams of light become all the more chaotic. Large, meandering, thick, and slow, one for each enemy. A bit strange to think of more powerful light being so slow, but there you go. Next up we have Lucid Barrier, a rather handy defense spell. When used on one of your allies, Lucid Barrier gives them defense against physical attacks. But it's a bit more developed than Gnome's Defender. It doesn't actually affect your defense stat. What it does is completely blocks enemies' physical attacks. Those pings you hear there means the attack did absolutely nothing. Of course, there is one caveat to watch out for. If I can get things to behave here. Yes, magic will still hit no matter what. Oh gods, explosive pumpkin string! Where are you growing your pumpkins that they're so violent? When used as a critical, Lucid Barrier becomes a little bit more impressive visually. It adds a second stage to the animation. Just showing off a bit there. Finally, we have Lightsaber. Aside from risking a George Lucas lawsuit, this one, especially for its expensive cost, really isn't too much to write home about. It doesn't give any added effects beyond putting light element on your weapons, which I suppose is enough of an effect. There are very few ways in this game to deal light elemental damage, so I suppose it at least has that going for it. It would have been nice to have a bonus effect, though. And, of course, we know about this. Now for Luna, the Moon Elemental. Her magic gives some interesting effects, and the girl's Luna spells can actually be quite useful. So let's see what we have. The first of Luna's spells is Moon Energy, which has a fairly strange icon. Yeah, you flex that bicep. The first thing to note about Moon Energy is it doesn't have a target all option, so this is a single target spell only. Now it is worth noting that you can cast it on everyone, you just have to do it one person at a time, which makes it take a little longer and makes it a more expensive spell if you want it to affect everyone. But with the kind of benefits this spell comes with, it's understandable. What Moon Energy does is basically make it so that almost every attack you make will be critical. So this decimates enemies pretty quickly. Got a mob of annoying enemies? Moon Energy takes care of them pretty swiftly. As a critical, Moon Energy really doesn't look any different. This is definitely a spell that values substance over style. Next up we have Lunar Boost. This one's your basic, classic, double-edged sword type buff. Using Lunar Boost raises your attack, but lowers your evade rate. That means you can get a stronger attack in on the enemy, but you won't be able to dodge as much of the attacks as they throw. Does the benefit outweigh the problem? I'll leave that to you to judge. Of course, once you're high level enough, it's certainly worth it once you have enough of an evade rating that The decrease from this spell doesn't really do too much. Now the critical effect certainly looks different on this one. Behold! Moon lightning! Finally, we have Moon Saber, the last of the true Saber buff type spells, and a rather interesting one at that. Moon Saber essentially gives your weapons the power of vampirism. Kind of an interesting choice, really. As long as Moon Saber is in play, if you physically attack the enemy, you drain their health. Any damage you do to the enemy, you gain back as recovery. It does have the drawback, though, that you can't really stack attacks with it, because every time you make an attack, you're going to be stuck with the little victory recovery pose. Oh yeah, and it still doesn't work on LA Funk. And, once again, the launch. I mean, bigger stars. Yeah. Finally, it's time for Dryad, the tree elemental. These spells are quite costly, but definitely have their uses. Dryad's first spell is Revivifier. Despite being kind of awkward to say, Revivifier is a useful spell, basically the magic equivalent of a Cup of Wishes. It revives a downed ally. However, at the cost of 10 magic points, this one's rather prohibitive as far as the number of uses you have. The critical version of it just makes the Heavenly Chorus a little more impressive, as they come with a nice vivid green aura and send down 4 stars instead of just 2. Next up we have Wall. This is a rather tricky defensive buff. Certainly it has its uses, though. Whereas Lucid Barrier makes you immune to physical attacks, Wall makes you immune to magic attacks. Thus, no matter what the enemy wants to throw at you, Earth Slide, Burst, whatever, it'll get reflected. The more damage they try and do to you, the more they're just hurting themselves. Given its similarity to Lucid Barrier, it's not too surprising that Wall's critical looks pretty much the same. Though this is a good point to say something about Wall. It does have a bit of a problem. It also makes you immune to healthful spells. So there you go, Spider Legs, have some Cure Water. Finally, we have Mana Magic. This is basically plot magic more than anything else. You only get it after you've defeated the Dark Lich, and the only point where you can actually even use it is while fighting the Mana Beast. Both the girl and the sprite have Mana Magic, and one character using it is useless. Both characters have to use it on the hero in order to revive the Mana Sword. So, basically, it's a glorified cutscene more than anything else. Once both the girl and the sprite have cast Mana Magic on the hero, the Mana Sword is revived. Basically, this is a glorified insane attack buff for the hero. Yes, even on the final boss, a normal sword attack doing more than 500 damage per hit. Pretty excessive, that. It certainly gets the job done, though. And should you manage to get a critical with it, well. Like all the spells, Mana Magic does have a critical form, but pretty much about the only way you can tell it was critical is that your character stopped moving during it. It pretty much looks exactly the same. So, nothing particular to write home about there. And so that's all for the girl's magic. Her library of spells can come in quite handy for getting through various parts of the game, tweaking your stats to help in tough spots. However, that's only half the magic in the game. Next time, we'll deal with the sprite's magic. With that, thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the demos, and I shall see you again in the next one. Until then, fare thee well.